Welcome, this is Shakti, your host for today, and I'm an online astrologer, what means I'm doing 80% of my work online because I'm living on Maui in Hawaii. So I've been an astrologer for 35 years or so, and so longer I do it, so more I personally get excited about it because it has served me well, and I see what good it can do for others to be prepared and in alignment with the universal forces coming at us. And especially in times like these where we have challenges in so many ways, it really helps to be prepared and forewarned. So astrology as a forecast gives you kind of the archetypal fields, the frequencies, what to expect this month. And then it's really up to us, our free choice, how we want to work those universal principles. So I do believe 100% preparation often equals 100% of success. So my intention with these forecasts is to give you very practical suggestions how to take the most advantage of what's going to happen in the coming months. So you want to sign up to be kept in the loop. So you can do that on YouTube. You can also go to my website and sign up there, so you get my newsletters with a little more in-depth information, and I will do at some point more in-depth astrological teachings for beginners. So if you really want to learn astrology in a more in-depth way, that's the way to go. So sign up so you will be notified with what's going on. And I have prepared today a PowerPoint presentation as usual. So we'll start looking always into the months from when the sun moves into the next sign. So the next sign the sun moves into will be Virgo. It's happening on August 22nd. But there's so much more happening this month as usual. So come over, visit me, and find out more specifics. Well, come over here, and thanks for your interest in astrology. As some of you know, I'm an evolutionary astrologer. And in evolutionary astrology, we look at everything from the soul's perspective. So our perspective is all about how you can grow, how you can raise your consciousness. And I'm also a published author. I've written a book, Jewelry and Gems for Self-Discovery, which is actually an introduction into astrology. And then there's this added part, which gemstones you can use to balance areas of friction and challenge in your chart. So for those of you who are interested in that, check it out. I will be talking about what's astrologically happening most significantly in the heavens in the coming months, which for me is the astrological months, starting with the sun moving into the next sign, which will be here, sun moving into Virgo, August 22nd at 4:01 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So let's have a look what's happening. We will talk about the highlights of that coming month. So the end of the last cycle we have been talking about was with the second Aquarian full moon, which was just August 20th or 21st. It's the very end of the sign. So we were gonna add a little of discussion about that. Then of course we will be talking about the sun moving into Virgo and what that means. But also we have Mercury moving into Virgo just a day later. And then we have the sun conjunction with Mercury another day later on August 24th. So to add to that mix is the sun opposition to Neptune on August 26th. And that will add a very different energy flow. But then there's more Virgo happening with the new moon in September 5th. And then we close out the months with full moon in Pisces, September 19th. The art of astrology, when we work with astrology, we can look at it in two ways. We can say the study of the stars as a science or an art. And actually, in my experience, it's both. So it is an occult art of divination. This is how it was used by our ancestors and many different cultures in the world. It is a system of archetypes and symbols. So when we work with astrology, there are no forms written in stone. The future is not laid out before us. We have free will. And so more we understand those underlying forces of reality, so more choices we have and possibilities to express those energies in higher manifestations. And that has solely to do with our state of consciousness. So my intentions with these forecasts is to sharpen your way of how you perceive yourself in the world and to give you better choices and to guide you to higher manifestations of those principles. So this will help you to ride the wave of life in a more joyful and successful way. When we have two full moons in the same sign, like we had with Aquarius last month, it's a way of the universe to really push something on us, really wants us to take attention and integrate some specific qualities. So because this kind of spills over into the coming months, I wanted to start with second Aquarian full moon happening on August 20th, 21st. So the Aquarian spirit carries the evolutionary thrust for change and growth. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, so this is the motor of evolution. So it contrasts the collective concerns with those of the individuality. It's all about the concept of freedom, independence, and societal changes. Aquarian spirit is the outsider, and because of that, he is not so identified with the mainstream way of looking at things. So there's some freedom of spirit, some freedom of being ahead of the pack. So Aquarians often are the forerunners, the one who carry evolution forward. So they're the rebels, the activists, the revolutionaries, and there is a specific openness to experiences outside the consensual reality. So when this is the energy we all have to integrate, we all want to move closer with. We can say that last month there was a real opening for experiences outside our comfort zone, outside of what we hold to be true. And this month there is some integration which wants to happen with this. With the sun moving into Virgo, we coming up into a very different energy. So Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Virgo is a very mental sign, but has a very grounded perspective. It is the archetype of the servant, the teacher, or the healer. It is a sign of the earth. And this will be a month where we're learning about being pragmatic, being very grounded in reality, and more interested in the details which make the world run smoothly. So also with Sun in Virgo, there will be more of an appreciation of the individual, of what we as an individual have to contribute to the whole, to other people. And this is a good thing. The next day, August 23rd, we will also have Mercury moving into Virgo. And that's pretty significant because Mercury is a ruler of Virgo. So it's moving into its own sign, what means it's going to be really strong. So Mercury is symbolizing our minds, the way we communicate, we learn, finding our voice. So this will all be expressed through Virgo. So Virgo is very detail oriented. So it's a home of the accountants, the organizers, the healers. So with Mercury in its own sign in Virgo, these qualifications are becoming stronger. Then the Sun will be in conjunction with Mercury, August 24th. Conjunction means that they both are in the same degree, so their energies are kind of flowing together, merging together. So this means there's just a lot of emphasis on Virgo stuff and mental processes. So when I talked about the Aquarian energy with the 2 full moons last month, that was very mental, but it was more like breaking out of the constructs, reaching new horizons. So the emphasis with Virgo and the mental processes happening here is so much more grounded. So here it's really about integration, making sense out of things. So here it's about trying to understand, to organize. And Virgos in general often like to fix the world around them, to help others, to make things go more smoothly. Putting things into order often goes in the same direction as trying to control things. And therefore, the shadow is when we become super critical and self-critical. We can also become very anal and controlling. We can get lost in detail managing. We're losing the overview. Or we might be focusing more on what doesn't work than on the solution of the problem. So again, it seems to be a month where it's wise to know what we can change and apply ourselves there, and to surrender to things we can't. There will be Sun opposition to Neptune, August 26th, and that will bring in a very different energy. Earthy Virgo Sun is opposed and therefore influenced by Neptune. Neptune, the mystic, the god of the non-physical realm. So here we are invited to integrate the physical, concrete, with the non-physical, the spiritual dimension. And Neptune is a ruler of Pisces. So here we really talk about integration from a higher perspective, from a higher state of consciousness. So both the Virgo and the Neptune complementing each other, meeting in the middle, bringing both something very different to the table. Back to Virgo, we have another event in Virgo, September 5th, the new moon. And as you might know, the new moon is always a new start, a new round of emotional consciousness, awareness, and maturity. So the area where we are asked to mature is symbolized by the sign the new moon is in, which is Virgo. So here's a new round of emotional growth and growing consciousness is starting from. How to ride the wave with Virgo projects. So Virgo is closely connected with values of order, organization, service to the bigger good. Therefore, have a project. Decide on how you want to use these energies specifically for yourself. Do you need to clean out an area in your house, like your garage, your closet, your car? I mean, we all have these little areas where we could benefit from more order and attention. So which area in your life needs that extra attention? Another dimension is be of service to others, volunteer. I know a lot of people who would like to volunteer, but they think they don't have the time, they don't know what they are good at or what they want to do. So start by think about what you're good at, what you like to do. Are you good with animals? You can go to a shelter. Do you have a lot of compassion and a warm heart? Are you a good communicator? So see what your individual skills are and then Google, find out where are organizations in your area where you could volunteer with your specific skills. Because this is something when you feel you're useful, you have something to contribute to your community, you will really feel good about yourself. And that brings me to the last point here. It's a month for health, well-being, and self-care. And that has really is very multidimensional. So health is, of course, our physical sense of well-being, but also our emotional and psychological sense of well-being. And what do we need in order to feel good about ourselves? So for Virgo, that means if we are able to contribute, we feel good about ourselves. So self-care in the widest sense is to feel good about ourselves. And of course, self-care also includes a massage you might want to get, and maybe get your hair colored if that's overdue, or get a facial or things like that. So that's also in the field of Virgo projects. And then we're closing out the month we're discussing here with the full moon in Pisces, September 19th. So what has started with the new moon in Virgo is now culminating with the full moon in Pisces, which is very similar to what we have already discussed with the Neptune opposition to the Sun in Virgo. So this holds a potential of integration of the physical with the non-physical dimension, the rational with the spiritual, more intuitive perception of life. So it's a chance for a higher wisdom perspective to look into life through the eyes of oneness and compassion from the heart. If you like my presentation, make sure you subscribe. You can also sign up for my newsletters on my website, Maui Astrology Reading. There you would get a free report for your love storm based on your personal horoscope, your astrology. And if you're signed up with my newsletters, I will keep you informed about my beginner classes for astrology, which I'm planning to do, but haven't quite figured out when I will start with that. So like me if you do. And if you're interested to apply astrology a little more in a personal way, not just have the global overview for the months, you know you can reach me for astrological readings online through Skype. You can call me in Hawaii 808-878-8182 or head over to my website mauiastrologyreading.com. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed it. And as we say on Maui, aloha.